What's up guys, Brian here. I'm down in the Gecko Lab. It's good to see you again. I know I missed posting a video last week. It's been kind of hectic. We're gonna get into that, but it's actually been a few weeks since I got to sit down and record a video. So I'm excited to start talking geckos. Today, we're gonna go over a few things. I'm gonna tell you guys a quick story about how some government agents came to my house and inspected my breeding facility. But first, we've had some really cool geckos hatch over the last couple weeks, so I want to show those to you guys. We'll get to my stories in a second, but first let's check out some of my favorite hatchlings over the last couple weeks. So let's get right into it. Like I said, some awesome geckos have hatched in the last couple weeks. There have been 2 axanthics that hatched in the last 2 weeks, but I'm not gonna show you guys those today because I feel like I post those all the time. My Instagram, my Facebook feed is all just full of axanthics because I love them so much. Today, I wanted to highlight a few other things. The exception, obviously, is the lily white axanthic. We had another one of these guys hatch out just this morning. It hatched last night. I found it this morning when I came down to get to work. And this one, not even joking, this is my favorite one yet. Oh my God, look at this gecko, you guys. So beautiful. That dorsal, look at that dorsal. Pure white, totally unbroken from the head to the tip of the tail. Just an amazingly pure white strip. Absolute solid dorsal, and the lats on this one are bigger, bolder, brighter, more pattern than the other ones that came before it. This is my favorite lily white axanthic. Now, I've hatched 6 of these guys now. I have a couple more eggs this year, so I might hatch 1 or 2 more, but 6 on the year, I'm happy with that. I will take that. And its clutchmate did hatch out. Its clutchmate did not get the visual axanthic gene. It is a het axanthic, but it did hit for lily white. So as you can see, I love taking pictures of these 2 next to each other because the contrast really highlights just how incredible the axanthic gene is. I mean, it looks fake. These things look photoshopped. I've told this story before. I thought they were photoshopped the first time I saw a picture of an axanthic. Just incredible, absolutely beautiful gecko. But enough of me going on about those. I know you guys are probably tired of hearing that. I just can't stop. I love them. Next up though, we have a C2 quad stripe. Now this comes from a group, breeding group I have that's a bunch of lavender quad stripe females bred to a really nice C2 orange quad stripe male. This one is a phantom pinstripe, so as you can see, most of the cream pattern is muted out on this one. But the thing I love about this one is the lateral markings. Those lateral quad stripes are still highlighted in white. They're tipped in white. I love that look. It looks so cool. Absolutely beautiful. This ornery little guy, he actually dropped his tail before he even hatched. When he hatched, he cut his egg open. They usually poke their nose out and sit there and relax for a little while. And, you know, he came out of the egg and his tail didn't. For whatever reason, he dropped his tail while he was in the egg. I expect hatching is obviously a very scary time for these guys. They're very vulnerable. These guys don't know that they're not out in a wild place where they're going to suffer predation from all kinds of different animals. So I suspect he probably heard a bang. I dropped something, somebody stomped on the floor above me, or you know, who knows what happened. I walked by, something scared him and he dropped his tail while he was in the egg still. I expect that's what happens. It happens occasionally. It's not common, but it does happen. Regardless, beautiful gecko. Next up today, we've got an ink spot. Now, I don't generally show off Dalmatians when they hatch because, as many of you guys know, Dalmatians develop and their spots grow and come in as they get older. This one doesn't look exceptionally great now, but those of you that breed Dalmatians or have experience with them, they'll know that this gecko, again, this one hatched this morning, a gecko that's maybe 12, 14 hours old with this many spots on it is pretty incredible. That's a sign that this is going to be an absolute high level, top-notch adult when it grows up. This is what I love breeding geckos for. I love seeing something like this hatch out, and I know how nice it has the potential to be. And now for the next 12 to 18 months, this thing is gonna be here in my facility and I'm gonna watch it grow. And I get to watch all the spots come in and watch how it develops and just see it blossom before my eyes. That is my real passion with this. I absolutely love watching them grow. So this is one I've got my eyes on. And then the last one I'm going to show to you guys is a lily white that hatched out. Now this one is not part of the Axanthic project. I don't have too many lily whites that aren't in the Axanthic project, but I do have a couple girls that are breeding. This is an offspring from one of those, and this one I particularly like because it has that bright orange dorsal stripe. Now any of you that follow me on Instagram know a couple days ago I posted a picture of another lily white that had a bright orange tangerine-ish looking dorsal that was really, really cool looking. This is from that same breeding group, so I suspect it's probably a full sibling, a half sibling at best, and I love that orange dorsal look. So I'm super excited to see this one grow up as well. And you know, a whole bunch of other stuff hatched over the last couple weeks too, but I wanted to highlight those ones for you guys. Are ones that I'm very excited about, very excited to watch these ones grow up and develop especially. So I wanted to show them off to you. Now, let's get into that story I've got for you guys. So as I'm sure some of you guys noticed, I did not post a video last Saturday. I've been on a really good roll of posting a video every Saturday morning for like 6 or 7 months now, and it's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy it, but last week I just didn't have time to get a video together, so I wanted to share that story why with you guys. So what happened was, there's a government organization here in Colorado, a state organization called PACFA. It stands for the Pet Animal Facility Care Act. And what it is a government entity that they're in charge of inspecting any business that works with live animals. So they cover vets' offices, pet stores, dog groomers, horse boarders, literally anybody with a business license who works with live animals. You have to be a PACFA certified licensed facility. So these guys hit me up and they sent me a letter saying, hey, we noticed that you're not PACFA certified. Here's what we are. Here's what we do. You need to get in compliance and get a license with us. And I said, absolutely. It sounds good. You know, what they're doing is good. They're making sure, basically they go around and inspect all the facilities and say, hey, there's a certain standard that your facility has to meet to make sure that all the animals in your care are cared for properly, they're provided for properly, everything is clean and sanitary, and the animals' well-beings come first. Obviously, I support this fully. It's a good thing for all the animals in anybody's care in this state. At the same time, it was a little bit nerve-wracking for me because, you know, I've heard stories from other reptile breeders and reptile shops about this organization that they were mainly created for dogs, cats, and horses, and that's the majority of what they do. And the inspectors are all trained for that, and they've been doing this for years and years, and very recently they have started including reptile breeders under their umbrella. And I've heard some horror stories about them that they don't know anything about reptiles. They're writing violations for things like one pet shop I talked to told me that they got a violation for not giving their crested geckos UV lights because the people didn't know that crested geckos are nocturnal. They talked about the inspectors coming in and they would see a species in a cage and then literally Google the species on their phone to look up the requirements. And my thought was, you know, if these people have to Google what my animals are to get the care requirements, how are they qualified to tell me how to take care of my animals? So I was a little worried about that, and I was also just a bit anxious because these guys have a lot of power. They have the power that if you're not PACFA certified and they come in and say your facility failed our inspection, they can take your business license, they can shut your facility down, put you out of business, confiscate all your animals, and even bring animal cruelty charges. It's happened before in this state. So even though I am 1000% confident in the way I keep my geckos and their health, and I know that I'm putting their health and well-being first, it's just nerve-wracking to put that kind of power in somebody else's hands. This is my life, my livelihood, my passion, everything, my blood, sweat, and tears for 12 years now. So, you know, it was just a little nerve-wracking. So last week we really focused on making sure I went through, they got a packet that's like 42 pages thick, all their requirements. I went through the packet and made sure everything was up to code to their standards. There really wasn't anything we had to change. The only thing I had to do was hang up a paper towel holder by one of our sinks because it didn't have one, and that was a requirement. And there was a few things that their requirements just aren't very clear on that I wasn't sure how they would rule. And then yesterday came, and yesterday was the day of our inspection. And you know, like I said, I was a little nervous just because, you know, I don't know who this lady is coming to inspect me. I don't know what she knows. I don't know how strict she's going to be. I don't know if she's going to tell me I'm doing things wrong. Maybe she's just going to decide she doesn't like me and fail me, and they're going to shut down my business. Like, my, you know, your mind always goes to the worst case scenario. And, you know, long story short, it was all for naught. It went just the way that I knew it would went, because I'm confident in myself and my animals and my workers and everything we do. The lady was here for about an hour. She did an inspection of our facility. She told me everything is well above their minimum standards. She said we blew everything out of the water. It was absolutely perfect. 0 violations, no citations, nothing that we need to fix. We got licensed on the spot. It was really pretty easy. And that was nice, because it, you know, it obviously killed all those nerves. I had nothing really to worry about, which I didn't in the first place. But, you know, like I said, your mind goes to the worst place. So that was why I was busy last week, you know, going through their regulations, getting prepared for that. That's the reason we didn't have a video. So I wanted to share that with you guys. 1, to explain why I didn't do a video, and 2, you know, I'm not gonna lie, just to brag a little bit, because I was very proud when the lady told me, her exact words were, "Our standards are here and your facility is up here." And that made me feel really good, because like I said, I care about my animals. I love these animals, and I'm confident that I know I'm doing what's best for them. And then to have a government organization come in and say, yeah, you're well above standard, you're doing an awesome job, good job, keep it up, here's your license, like, that just felt good. That made me feel good. So I wanted to share that with you guys. One more quick story, because this one's hilarious. This is not the first time I've had a government organization come inspect my house. The other time was the FBI. So I legitimately had the FBI show up to my house and inspect it one time. I wasn't even here. They purposely came when I wasn't home. And the reason for that was they suspected that I was a drug dealer. Okay, so they didn't really think I was a drug dealer. Here's the story. So my ex-wife, years ago, she worked for the federal government. She was a legal assistant. She went and got her paralegal degree, and she got a job as a legal assistant for the Federal Justice Department here in Denver. And when they were doing her background check, one of the things that came up on her background check was that apparently one of my neighbors had called the cops multiple times and told the cops that I am a drug dealer. Now, as funny as this sounds, I can kind of understand it, because as many of you guys know, in addition to breeding geckos, I work at UPS. I work in a warehouse at night for UPS. So I'm a young guy that lives in this, you know, it's an older neighborhood. I don't live in a real, you know, fancy, up-to-do, scaled-up neighborhood or something. It's just a normal, older neighborhood with normal houses. And so I'm a young guy, and I live in this neighborhood, and my neighbors, you know, I'm sure notice that I leave at 2 in the morning every day. I get in my car and drive away, and I don't come back until the sun comes up. I'm at UPS, but they don't know that, right? And they know that, you know, I've got somebody that works for me that helps me feed and take care of the geckos, and I've had several different people over the years. So as far as they're concerned, some stranger who doesn't live here shows up at my house in the middle of the day, and I've always got different people walking in and out of my house, and you know, they just put all this together apparently and decided I was a drug dealer. And the cops obviously never took any action on it. They didn't take it seriously, but there was enough complaints that the FBI actually came out to my house when we weren't home, and they looked around my house to see if there's anything suspicious that would tip them off that this person they were hiring to work in the Federal Justice Department was in fact a drug dealer. And when my ex-wife went through her interview, they flat out told her, no, we did an inspection on your house, and clearly you guys aren't drug dealers. This tip that the cops got was totally unfounded. And I just thought that was hilarious, that somebody mistook me being a gecko breeder, which is why I'm home all day and I only work 4 hours a night in the middle of the night and yet can afford a house. They thought that meant I was a drug dealer. It really just means I breed geckos in the basement, which quite honestly, the profit margins are probably higher because I don't have to buy my geckos from a narco ring in Mexico. So, you know, good for me, I guess. I don't need to deal drugs, but it was a hilarious time. We had a good laugh about it. My favorite part was after we found out this story, I actually changed my Wi-Fi name. You know how you can pull up your Wi-Fi list and see all your neighbors' networks? I changed my Wi-Fi network name to I am not a drug dealer. I left it like that for about 2 years just to make sure everybody in the neighborhood knew I'm not selling drugs. It's okay, guys. I'm not a scary dude. I'm just a goofy white kid who likes lizards. That's about it. Definitely not a drug dealer. So anyways, there's my rant for the day. There's my rambling, some goofy stories about me for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sticking by me as always. There will be another video up Saturday morning. I really appreciate it. I'm Brian, Altitude Exotics. You guys know the deal, altitudeexotics.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, all the links down below. I love you guys. Thank you. We'll see you soon.